Anytime a CG character is brought up in the history of visual effects, anytime, anywhere, people always seem to say Davy Jones is one of the best ever created. And I completely agree. The way he was realised for Gore Verbinski's Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest in 2006 by actor Bill Nighy and VFX studio Industrial Light and Magic is just incredible. Stay tuned as we go behind the scenes of one of the most revered digital characters in history. So, what made Davy Jones so amazing? Well, it started with the first film in the Pirates franchise, The Curse of the Black Pearl. On that film, skeletal pirates, including Geoffrey Rush's Barbossa, had been crafted by painstakingly match-mating live-action performances. For the sequel, however, visual effects supervisor John Knoll from ILM sought a more efficient solution for the crew of the Flying Dutchman. The result was ILM's patented IMocap system, developed specifically for the production. The goal of IMocap was to let performers act naturally during principal photography, in full costume and under the actual on-set lighting. This was instead of recreating their performances later in a traditional optical motion capture stage. Actors destined to become CG characters wore specially designed suits covered in tracking markers. The suits were nicknamed computer pajamas by one member of the crew. These worked in conjunction with dedicated machine vision witness cameras positioned around the set, allowing the performance movements to be triangulated accurately in three-dimensional space. In fact, that witness camera approach had been inspired by some earlier ILM motion capture work done for Pearl Harbor. On that film, a two-camera mocap solve for tiny digital stuntmen tumbling off the deck of a sinking battleship had been explored. For Dead Man's Chest, the tracking suits represented only one part of that overall workflow. ILM also relied on its proprietary tracking and match-moving technology to extract motion data from both the main camera plates and the witness camera footage. Attached to the suits were rigid IMocap bands featuring distinctive white dots on black squares and other patterned markers. These bands enabled reliable tracking from only a small number of cameras. Minimizing the amount of equipment required on set was a deliberate objective of the IMocap system. And of course, among the most memorable characters created using IMocap was the Flying Dutchman's captain, Davy Jones. He was part octopus, part crab, and part human. The character ultimately combined Bill Nighy's on-set performance with ILM's performance capture techniques and extensive keyframe animation to produce one of the era's most convincing digital characters. In the end, IMocap primarily supplied the body performance. Meanwhile, every aspect of Davy Jones's facial animation was crafted by ILM's animation team. The animators closely studied Nighy's original acting, particularly his eyes, and carefully translated those performances into the more cephalopod-like features of Jones. Additional layers of animation and simulation brought the character even further to life. Jones's tentacles were simulated with careful attention to their distinctive sticky quality, allowing them to convincingly feel their way across surfaces, grasp objects, and even play musical instruments. The tentacles also became an expressive storytelling tool, often animated to reflect the character's emotional state. ILM introduced advanced rendering techniques for Jones's skin. The studio employed subsurface scattering to achieve the translucent, moist appearance that became one of the character's defining visual traits. One thing to note, even though Bill Nighy's performance was maintained, Davy Jones is entirely CG, even his eyes. The final result was a stunning front and center character, full of emotion, an unforgettable performance.
John Knoll, Hal Hickel, Charles Gibson and Alan Hall for the Pirates of Caribbean.
The VFX team was also recognised with an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects for the film. Since Dead Man's Chest, ILM's IMocap technology has continued to evolve. The tracking software has been refined, while the original rigid tracking bands have given way to fractal tracking patterns printed directly onto the suits. Modern versions of the system are also commonly paired with head-mounted cameras and active tracking markers, expanding the capabilities of the studio's performance capture pipeline. And that's it for this look behind the scenes of Davy Jones in Dead Man's Chest. You can check out more about the character in my new book, Whoa! Great Moments in Effects History Volume 1, out now at Amazon. Finally, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe right here on YouTube. See you next week for another great effects moment.